Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be talking about keyword cannibalization. This is a follow-on from my last video about content silos for SEO, and in there I mentioned that keyword cannibalization can be an issue when you're creating those content silos. So in this video I'll be talking about what it is, how you can spot it on your website, why it could be a problem, and how you can avoid it going forward. So what is keyword cannibalization? Essentially, it's when multiple articles on your website rank for the same search query in search results. So if someone types something in on Google, then multiple articles from your site will be ranking in the search results. And that's because Google thinks that both of the articles are relevant to the search query that the users typed in. And why would this be a bad thing? Why is keyword cannibalization bad for your site? Essentially, it's because it can diminish both of the articles' rankings in the search results, meaning you get less organic traffic through to your site. Rather than one article ranking at the top of the search results and getting a lot of organic traffic, it means that multiple articles are ranking and potentially ranking lower in the search results, like 5th, 6th, 7th position, and so on. And this is because it's confusing as to which one should rank in Google. So Google aren't going to be putting it as in the top 3, say. They're going to be ranking multiple posts lower. It also means that it lowers the CTR, or click-through rate, for both of the articles. That's because when someone searches a certain search query and multiple articles appear in the search results from your website, then they're only going to be able to click on one of the articles at a time. So the other article that they're not clicking on gets a lower click-through rate, and this happens on both of the articles, and will also mean that because they've both got lower click-through rates, then Google won't favour them as much potentially, and they'll both be lowered in the search results again. And essentially it means that Google is ranking the wrong page. So if you've got an article that you want to be ranking for a certain keyword and Google's ranking multiple pages, then it's ranking kind of the wrong pages in your opinion. You've got a page that it wants to rank and it's ranking these wrong pages instead. Unless both of the articles or all of them are ranking in the top positions. So unless the one you want to be ranking is at number 1 and then the others are below it as number 2 and 3, etc., that's okay. But anything else, like articles that are ranking like 5, 6, 7 and onwards, that's a problem, and that's what generally occurs when you do have keyword cannibalization. So how can you spot keyword cannibalization on your website, and how can you identify it and that it's happening to you? Well, the first thing to be aware of is that it may be happening when you're writing content in a silo structure. In my previous video that I went over silo structures in, what they are essentially, quickly, is when you're talking about one specific topic on your website in a certain structure. So when you're writing content all about this one topic, it's very easy then to talk about a subtopic across multiple articles, and that's when you could get in trouble, because keyword cannibalization happens when you've got 2 or more articles written around a similar keyword or similar topic. You also have to be aware that articles written with the same search intent can also suffer from keyword cannibalization. So even though you're not targeting the same keyword across multiple articles, if they've both got the same search intent behind them, then they may be both appearing in the same search results. The way you can check this clearly is by using Google Search and Google Search Console. So now I'll give you an example of what you could type into Google Search to see if posts are suffering from keyword cannibalization. This is what you could type in. You could type in site : and then your domain. So in this example I've just put domain.com, and then type in the keyword that you want to see if it's suffering from keyword cannibalization. So say it might be, if you've got a fish website, it might be best freshwater fish tanks. So it'd be site, then your domain, and best freshwater fish tanks, and then you'd search, and then you'd see all the articles that are coming up just on your site for that specific keyword. And if the wrong article that you don't want to be ranking at the top is ranking above the right article that you do want to be ranking for that keyword, then you know that keyword cannibalization is occurring, because in the search results for everyone else, the wrong article is ranking above it and the right article is below it. So both are potentially ranking, and the wrong article is ranking at the before the right one. So that's where keyword cannibalization is occurring, and that's how you can spot it, just by doing that simple search on Google. So next we'll talk about what Google thinks about duplicate content and what they've said about it themselves. So in a video that's on one of their YouTube channels, I think it's in a series called Sustainable Monetized Websites, they mentioned that it's not favorable to duplicate content on the same pages or multiple pages, which makes sense. And the solution for this is, they said, you can either consolidate similar pages or add value to each of the pages and make them, in my opinion, make them unique. And also for pages that duplicate content for a good reason, you can use what's called canonicalization, which I think is basically telling Google which article you want ranking for a certain keyword. So that's what they think about duplicate content, and that's their sort of solutions that they've given to sort out duplicate content. It's either, rather than splitting content across multiple pages, consolidate it in one article, or add value to each of them to make them different and unique. And so how can you avoid keyword cannibalization going forward when you're creating content? So we've talked about how you can spot it and if it's already occurring on your website, but how can you make sure that you're avoiding it in future content that you create? Well, as we've just said with Google, you can combine articles with the same search intent or the same that are around the same topic, or you can just remove the articles that are competing and that sort of are the wrong articles that are ranking, or you can canonicalize them. So you can either combine them or just remove the ones that you don't want to be ranking, and just move the content into just one article, or you can canonicalize it. I will leave a video link in the description about which is Google's video from themselves on canonicalization and how you can go about doing it. So I'll leave a video in the description if you're interested. And also lastly, to avoid it, you can use an internal linking structure to establish a hierarchy or a content silo structure. This is what I talked about in my last video, which I'll also leave a link to if you want to check it out. But it's basically a way that you can use to tell Google which posts are more important and more relevant. So maybe the post at the top of the hierarchy, like a pillar post for example, should be ranking. Google will be able to know that it should be ranking for a sort of more high competition keyword and that it's more relevant. But go watch that video and it'll make more sense if you don't know what I'm talking about there. And that's essentially it, just those three things really. It's just important to be aware of what keyword cannibalization is and how it could be happening. So if you are writing an article and you think, I've kind of already talked about the subject, or I've mentioned it sort of in a bit of detail on another post, then sort of they both could sort of be competing for the same sort of keywords. So you just got to be aware of it really when you're creating future content. And that's it. Thank you for watching. That was just a short summary on keyword cannibalization. I'm just going through what it is, how you can spot it, and how you can avoid it going forward. And please just comment what you'd like me to talk about next. I'm creating a site from scratch. It's sort of about 3 months old now, getting on for that. And sort of learning. I started learning in sort of December and November last year. And these sorts of topics that I've been talking about on my YouTube channel would have really helped me when I was just starting to create my sites and everything. So if you're a beginner as well, just comment what you'd like me to talk about. I'll share my experience so far, and I will do some research into it. So just comment what you'd like me to do a video on next. And if not, I've got loads of ideas, so I'll just be creating content around SEO, Pinterest, and just about blogging in general. So just subscribe for more videos on that sort of content. And yeah, thank you for watching.